Hey, how you doing out there?
Hello, everybody.
This is Chris.
And I'm Angela, and we are the Spice. Oh,
La 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 la
la la la
la la la la.
So, what happens, Christopher, when you face with a difficult situation, a difficult trial, and there's absolutely out of your control? What is your next step? What is your next thing you think about when you in this situation?
I just go with the flow. No. Sometimes you gotta let it go.
You gotta let it go so you can grow.
You can grow.
And so what better way to start this show off with and this is one of my sayings that helped me. It is what it is. Way of thinking or attitude or frame of mind. So
interesting.
And I can tell you this saying, just hearing that when somebody say it is what it is, some people can take that as a negative. You know that?
Really?
Because if somebody say it, okay, let's say this, let's say a hardship, wherever that hardship may be. Let's say I don't have a car and I can't get around. And then somebody say, well, it is what it is. Some people can see that as negative. Well, it's like, wait, I want a car now. That's, what are you talking about? It is what it is. But if you think about it, what can you do about a car in that situation if you don't have the means to get a car, right? So with that statement, to me, is like, it seals the fact that at this moment in time, I can't do nothing about it. It is what it is. Let me move on. Let me see how I can, get from this point A to point B.
Well, I think if someone is saying it, especially if my mind is not in that mind state and someone says to me, it is what it is, and I don't feel that way, then yeah, I can see that as taking it the wrong way, or it could be negative, or like what they're talking about. But if something happens to me and I make the statement, that probably has a different effect on me.
Yeah.
Or I'm perceiving this in a way of coping and dealing with it. So yeah, I think that some people can, if somebody says that and you may be looking for some sort of different support, and then someone says, oh, well, it is what it is. Like if you was, let's say, even using Dire Street, like, singing a country western song, my dog, and I'd be like, well, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. You may be like, what?
What are you talking about?
Wait, what? So I think it's just depending on the
you're
situation.
So insensitive.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people may say it is what it is. And at the moment, maybe you feel that way and you thinking, okay, but then if it is what it is, you move on. You truly move on. Some people struggle with the move on part. At the time, though, they're trying to cope with it. And they may say that, which is not a bad idea.
That's true. But I see that this is becoming a very popular saying now because, let's say you do have your car, you're working or whatever, but everybody have difficult times. Everybody's going through stress.
Right.
Okay, when I'm going through stress, or if I'm dealing with difficult people, if I'm, just going through stuff out of my control that I know I can't do anything about the moment, it is what it is. Okay, and that helps me to move on. Like, it is what it is. Things happen. This happened to everybody, but I can't do anything to control it right now. But let me think about things that I can control. What can I do in this situation now that I can do, that I could help? Because right now, this is going to happen, but this is what I can do to help it or whatever. And sometimes we're going to talk about people. You cannot control people and what they do and what they say. You can't control anybody. So the thing about that is, how does that statement help you in dealing with others when you talk about someone that's said something, you can't control what somebody say when somebody said or do something that has offended you.
I don't know. Like the way my brain thinks about it is more of situations
Right.
versus people. With people, it really depends on the situation. But like if a situation, like let's say for instance, we having some air condition issues and we are running across certain situations, no particular person, but situations. At some point, that'd be a good declaration, or you will drive yourself crazy. Um, and let's say, for instance, like on my perspective, there's a situation I'm not sure of all about what's going on with the air conditioning, and I may want to get really involved in it. If I find I don't know much and I haven't been privy to every detail of everything, I might proclaim what you just said. I'm like, all right, well, it is what it is, and that'll probably be it. Versus me keep worrying about it. So I think sometimes just saying that and proclaiming that does kind of help end it, put a pin in it for a minute for you, or even for the duration.
Yeah. And speaking of that, it's a good example about the air conditioner. So, um,
Yeah.
if guys, if even if you got a warranty company and you dealing with these crazy,
But it is what it is.
interesting outcomes that you can't control, but it's out of your control of how things went. But what has happened? Well, it is what it is. That's happened. But this is what I can do. This is where you start writing down the next steps and what you want to do. However, I'm in control at a certain point, because I'm paying the warranty company, and whoever they sent to my house, to quote unquote fix my air condition or say they fix my air condition or not fix it, whatever, or diagnose the issue. You'll be like, okay, they're not allowed back at my house. They don't know, if I have them back at my house, then they're just going to push it on another company. So no. So whoever fixes it is the one that will come back to my house, whoever can fix it.
And then it would be is what it is.
It is what it is because I control that,
here's another one. This is how she could respond.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Graves, we want no. You cannot send them back. It is what it is. We understand, Mrs. Graves.
Don't send it. There are certain companies that you deal with and you're not going to because they've left a very sour taste, we'll say that.
Yeah, just
because of how they deal their business dealings with. You're not going to want to put yourself back in a position of being, it's already difficult enough and they didn't do anything to help you out in difficult situations. So why? Why would you want them back? Same to when you talk about when you're dealing with folks. It just depends on your tolerance level when you're dealing with others, but you can, at your control, you can continue to be, how do you say it? Hospitable, nice, but on a certain level with certain people and still keep the peace, Some people just have things that happens in their life and sometimes mistakes happen and you could do what you call it, the benefit of the doubt, which is in your control. What's happened, it is what it is, out of control of you and the other person and how their actions were. You can't take back what was said and you can't take back what was done, but you can move forward in how you can control yourself and what you do and what you say.
Yeah, I wish I heard that sometimes when
Yes.
something, I might have made a mistake on or something somebody believe I made a mistake on and things happen. It'd be nice for someone to say, oh, I get it. Yeah, it is what it is. That would be very nice to hear sometimes.
So nobody said that to you?
They probably have. I just can't remember or recall it right this second. Usually those are, for me anyway, it's more of like say for instance, me and you wanted to go somewhere like a restaurant, but we drive up to it and it's closed, and we really wanted to go. After a while, it's been like, oh well, it is what it is. Let's go find another spot.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll proclaim it for that. But I want to be, and for me, and towards others, I want to be like in a stressful situation, or not a stressful situation, a situation where it's a little bit more tougher. And we
Mm-hmm.
talking about specific people, like
Right.
Angela was saying, people. And I can say, well, I get it. It is what it is. So and so, I get that. It's cool. It was a mistake. It's not a big deal. It is what it is. We cool. That'd be nice. But
Yeah.
that's something I guess I would have to kind of work on if it's something I want to inculcate. I do try to be pretty cool about certain things because I want people to be cool with me, but
Yeah.
it's something I'm continuing to work
Yeah.
on as I get older.
And also too, it's good to be at a point or to where you're not overly emotional about a lot of things, you know. Sometimes you just have to just accept the fact of things are going to be the way they are, you know. And
And honestly, a large majority of it is minor. Like
yeah,
99% of the stuff I get, go back, is minor. It's very small percentage that's legitimate. It's just mundane things. Some once in a while, I get anybody in this household, we get frustrated about. But you look back at it like, well, I can't believe that's crazy. I can't believe some stuff I even let bother me.
yeah. And if you think about some things that happen in the past, different health scares that we've been involved in, family as well, and just watching people that we know, you know, go through life, you know, tough times. But
Yeah,
sometimes you feel a little bad because they are having difficult, you know, situations. But there are things that you can do, you know, and within your control, do it. You know, you can't go back and change what has happened because what has happened has happened. The difficult times are there, you know.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, everybody got difficult things in their lives. There's nobody on this planet that doesn't have anything that they're dealing with today that's difficult or stresses, you know.
Yeah, so I think that's a good phrase more if it's just your average stuff, which is usually what like I said earlier, a large percentage of what you usually get frustrated or whatever is average and mundane. You do have certain events,
Yeah.
but they're on the 1% side, I would like to say. Some stuff that happened with me and Angler and our kid and stuff like that. That's not it is what it is. That's just a bad situation, a certain situation. But most of this day, that's a good phrase to develop. Sometimes, like, man, we supposed to do this or that. It is what it is. That's where I want to be, about certain stuff like that. I try to be like that about it because, if I don't, we really can make poop, just a little bit of spark, boom, and boom, kaboom. Guess who stepped in the room?
And
So,
also, I was going to say, in relation to one of the things that we did kind of mention is that Chris and I lost a child, our first child we lost. And there were so many things that I wish that I could go back and change. You know, I had some very deep down resentment for decisions and choices that I made in regards to my medical doctor, you know, uh, because there are things that happened or should have happened preventatively that would have prevented or at least helped the situation. I would feel that my daughter would probably hear today if some of the things were, you know, some of the precautions were taken because they were so, what do you call it? Routine checks. So, instead of me continuing on with that negative thought, you know, what's happened is happening. It is what it is. What can I do that's going to help me today to move forward and to move on and not continue on with my resentment? I mean, that was what, 27 years ago? Oh, I think it was 27 years, 26, 27 years ago. So me having resentment today about it with is not helping me at all, you know. I have to be at a point where I'm helping myself and where I can help others and that's dealt with this situation. I can say that, and I can, some of the things I can say, if I could go back in time, I would have, you know, got myself some help, some mental help in regards to that big loss. 'Cause that was a huge loss for me, losing a child, at a young age. So, but I would advise other people going through that, kind of helping them. Okay, well, this is what I went through. This is what I wish I had. I kind of feel good thinking in that way and helping others. When you help others out, that's something in your control.
Yeah, that is something in your control. I do agree with that. Um, yeah, yeah. Sometimes people deal with those regrets. I deal with the same, But anyway, things are what they are. It is what it is. You got to keep moving. I never thought of certain things like that. But like I said, the 1%, I don't,
Yeah,
I look at it
Christopher.
differently.
Christopher has this power of, uh, especially if something's deeply hurting him, he can file it back in his brain. Brain so it won't come out. Unless I bring it out or somebody else bring it out.
Yes, which
he
is
can
always the
suppress. He can
case.
suppress stuff
I
very well.
compartmentalize it.
Yeah, compartmentalize.
Unless people go into the details of it, then it
Yeah,
starts getting,
yeah,
because I know how I feel about it. So that's why
yeah,
I have to put it way back in the back because I know the emotions I feel about certain things. Brother was just an unfortunate circumstance, something unjust, which is the worst, and our just a very sad situation.
yeah,
Those I put way back in the abyss, and I don't like discussing them
yeah,
because there's no at this point there's no benefit. The only thing that's gonna come up about it to me, I'm not speaking for nobody else, is something that's not healthy mentally for me. Because you do go into the what ifs and stuff. I think about that with our daughter. I think about that with my mother. I think about it with a lot of stuff. So yeah, ain't nothing. It is now that is absolute at this point in my life. Nothing I can do about it. So I do put it away.
and if you guys think about things that you worry about that are out of your control, just think about just like Chris mentioned, what can it do for you today? What can you do about it? I have to sit there even today, and even if I'm like stressed out and I have to sit there and think, what can I do about this? And if it's nothing, I have to immediately move on, because if I continue on with that type of thinking, that negative thinking, I mean, it will ruin not only a day but several days.
Yeah,
Sometimes I catch myself later on, like day 2 or day 3, of thinking of stuff I can't even do anything about.
yeah.
And
Because the
then,
moment's out of your control.
yeah, and once
It's
once
done.
I got that, it is what it is. Like, hey, it is what it is. You got to move on. What can you do? You know. And that's when I'm like, okay, well, I can do this. I start, thinking of things I can do. Even though I can't resolve the issue, I think of things that can be like stepping stones for me to lead up to a resolution. Or if it's not nothing I can resolve that day, or if it's nothing I can do at all, then I need to be like Christopher Graves and file it back in the bank memory banks, and just
Yeah,
just there's nothing I can do about it. Why think about it now?
yeah. And I think people don't understand how each person has their own perspective on certain stuff, especially emotional stuff. I call it emotional because different emotions pop up. It can be sadness, it can be depression, it can be straight up pure anger, and the same situation could be brought up. So yeah, it's nothing. I will only if I know it's a benefit to someone that'll happen. Like if I bring up a situation with my mom, it's because I'm bringing up to someone because I know they need help or perspective, and I compartmentalize my own the whole moment that gets filed is more of a da 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 for this, and then the person like, oh man, really? But I don't bring it up just out of the blue for zero reason, because as it's talked about more and more, and then the detail, that's when you like, for me, it's like, because I don't want to think of it from that perspective.
And you think about it, some people have different ways that they grieve or that they handle a loss of a person, and you have to respect everybody's different in how they handle that, so you have to respect that. Some people want to talk about it, they want to bring it up, that helps them, that soothes them, and that's them. That's how they deal with it, that's them. And some people don't want to talk about it, they don't want to deal with it. A lot of people don't even want to go to funerals, they don't want to see, they want to remember the person the way they were. That's just how they deal with it.
Yeah.
And you talk about someone that was very close to you, that's something you're not gonna forget.
Nope.
I can tell you this: I grieve my daughter every year. It's been 2 decades past, 2 decades
Yep.
plus. It still hurts, but the difference in today is that my mental thinking about it is different. I'm able to manage it better. I see it differently today than I did when she first passed away. So it's like, and that is a journey that people go through when they get to these certain points,
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. The situation is, our daughter passed away. She's gone. Now that's the it is moment. Now, what can I do? What can Angela and Chris do to help that? Well, we're going to have to think in a way that's going to help us process this grief, this loss. Everybody's going to, Christopher processed the loss differently. I process the loss differently. And we go about trying to handle our situation or our emotional state about it to where we are, that we're good, even though we're still grieving, but we're handling it in a different way, So, that's just the way it is, guys. That's just the way it is. And you have to respect people for that. And I know some people like, well, that's been a long time. How are you going to feel? Look, don't get into how people grieving. Don't get into how long it should take. That is really none of your business. That's none of your business. And also, that's insensitive when it comes to a loss. You're not that person. You don't know how deeply that person is lost. Everybody's different. So, you got to respect people, and their grieving process.
My thing is control the controllables, control what you can. It's crazy stuff people that you think, like, like, say for instance, somebody say, I saw Angela in that stolen car. And I go and ask Angela, like, what? Angela knows she wasn't in the car, but it's nothing she can do about what that person said.
Right.
So I may never say it is what it is to her, but she know in her mind ain't nothing she can do. It is what it is. They'd be very not happy, and they'll drive themselves crazy. I've been there where something unjust like that, and then you drive yourself crazy until you just have to be like, it is what it's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can do. You gotta, like Angela said it, and she hear me use the phrase all the time. You do have to let it go, because you will not mentally grow and progress forward if you let your rage build about stuff like that. And you have to just leave that alone and let the powers that be deal with it.
And normally in a situation like that, you just let time brings the truth out. You can't do anything,
and will get you justice.
It will. And that's also what it does as well is it shows you who's really in your corner, when you talk about, stuff like that. Because some people, they'll go and just believe every little thing that people say. You can't do that. You got some people like, they'll move on. They do this to the information. And then they go on with their life.
Yeah.
But
And be aware of the sensitivity of other people. So like I just mentioned about a car. It wasn't me involved. I was connected to it. I'm not going to keep bringing up scenarios about a car that's particular situation to Angela. Angela was like already angry about the whole foolishness of it all. So there's no benefit to keep like throwing around when I know how Angela feels about it. You get what I'm saying? It's an irritant at that point. Almost like let me just, even though I'm not trying to do that though. Understand, I'm not trying to do it on purpose, but because I'm not in her shoes. I wasn't the one. Somebody just randomly decided they think that's Angela, or decided to do that to Angela. It's not Angela do, but the loving thing I can try to do, because I'm not perfect, is try to be like, let me be aware of that, because that wasn't cool what they did to Angela.
right.
And that's another thing, because in reality it is what it is, but that wasn't cool.
And yes, we talk about things that you can control. You can control your next steps. You can control what you say. Don't let those next words, don't let the next actions be something that you're going to regret. Let them soup in their own.
Don't give them the power.
Right. Don't give them the power.
That's why I say you do got to let stuff go.
Yeah. Just move on.
Yeah.
They'll come back. Things will come
back.
Well,
I don't know about come back.
Well, let me finish what I said. Things will come back positive in your way if you don't, if you don't retaliate. Just don't retaliate. Just let it be.
I don't know what that means, but yeah.
All right.
It is. I'll say it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just don't do anything negative. Just let them,
Yeah.
Just
don't
let
do
them
anything
be,
negative. I agree. Don't do anything negative. But yeah, it's time usually. Just move forward.
Well, you can see where people do retaliate, and they are in prison right now for stuff they did, for somebody that said some crazy stuff or did some crazy stuff to them, when they will be out now today.
Those are what I call grudge holders.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, people.
We've seen some crazy stuff happen lately.
They wasn't listening to the spice.
Oh.
It is what it is. La 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 la.
Bye bye, everybody.